something that is wrong, why not just get on with it? So what do you think about all that? It is all coming your way from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Now, when it comes to the African continent as well, dozens killed in violence in volatile unity state in South Sudan, and then historic trial kick off, but is immediately postponed in Central African Republic. Then Sankara trial resumes to discuss compensation. Compensation for who? Lawyers for the civil parties demand that state and the accused be jointly liable. Are they going to compensate the the family of Sankara, or compensate the people of Burkina Faso? What is it going to be? I'm not very sure. Mwai Kibaki's body lies in state in Nairobi. That is the other story making the rounds on the African continent. One final story: Togo MPs pass vote to join Commonwealth. So all this while, now how can they join Commonwealth? Interesting. Well, they passed a vote to do that. Maybe they are looking at the benefits that the Commonwealth, Ghana, Nigeria, and all those Commonwealth countries are benefiting from the Commonwealth. We will see about that. We'll bring you more on that front in a moment. But stay tuned. Don't you go away. 10:54 the time. Now, on the world front as well, UN chief to meet Putin as Russia warns of risk of wider war. The meeting comes as Russia's foreign minister warns of the real threat of World War III breaking out. Now, what is happening is that they want it to go on. They just want what is going on to go on. Let them just be allowed to just bash Ukraine. Fine, whatever the cause of this war is. I don't want to talk about that now, but you keep on just battering them, just destroying everything. And the West is trying to support them, giving them arms. They say, now you are trying to have a de facto war in Ukraine. You are bringing all those things. This is going to escalate because we think that you are bringing your arms to do that. So, what do you think? We'll be bringing more on that front. Ukrainian border village where rockets lighter. My apologies. Where rockets later rose. Yogita Limaye visits a Ukrainian village on the border of Russia and Belarus that has been torn apart by the war. I asked the question, to what end? Well, Macron was saying yesterday, that was on Sunday, won the election, the presidential election. The re-elected French president has to focus on a new set of problems, beginning with a general election. Now, if his party or his MPs don't win majority seat in parliament, then that's going to be a problem for him. Because the opposition are vowing to make sure that they become a pain so that he will not be able to implement his policies, and by so doing make him unpopular, and then they can take over come the next election. Because you know what, they got 41.2, whilst he had 58.8 thereabout. Okay, so what do you think about all that? We'll be bringing you more on that front. Defiant Kim Jong-un vows to ramp up nuclear weapons. North Korea's leader spoke at a military parade, which also saw banned missiles displayed. Now, countries who have given up their nuclear ideas or whatever they wanted to do, or developments that they wanted to undertake, I bet by this time will be biting their fingers, because look at what is happening now. If you don't have it, somebody can just be, I don't think that we have any laws in this world now. If you have arms, if you have got nuclear, you talk, people will have to listen to you. You don't have it, well, they might play sanctions against you. They might attack, but you know that because you have that, it's a threat. So they will also be careful if they dare want to do that, because if they do, you can also release yours. So that seems to be the plot. Well, Kim says that, well, I'm going to be going on like no man's business. What is the way forward now? And what can other countries or the civilized world do about it? It is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. In the UK as well. I was crestfallen after Basic Instinct claim that Labour deputy leader says she was overwhelmed by support after the reports in a Sunday newspaper. Somebody said, well done to her. But as I said yesterday, I mean, I did try to say that our Prime Minister is so, dumb that instead of you to stand, what do they call that box? Yes, and then to make sure that you debate issues, you'll be looking at a woman sitting there doing that and saying that is distracting me. You don't know. Or if your eye no red, Abby. Okay then. Well, it is Starr Radio UK. It is your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. We're going to take a break, and once we come back, we'll continue with the show. Stay tuned and don't you go away. We'll be having Ms. Olayomi Koiki joining exactly at 11.
Give your
from the late Papa Youngson. Jimmy Yehovah Minyankupon. Save me, my Lord, my God. Song whilst we wait for Mr. Olayomi Koiki to join in, but some of the stories that is put across that we're going to be looking at this morning. Abba Kyari, drug baron with 103 bank accounts nabbed at Lagos Airport. The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency has arrested Chief Afam Ukatu, who is described as the billionaire drug baron behind a 3 billion naira tramadol deal involving a suspended deputy commissioner of police. Osibanjo says that it will be a betrayal to Nigeria if I don't run for president, says Osibanjo. Well, so he can run, but can he win? That's the question. Well, this and a lot more going to be coming your way from Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Let me say a special good morning to my big brother again, Mr. Ishmael Okay, and to your lovely wife, Heidi. Good morning to you. Hope you are doing very, very, very well. And to Jocelyn Hayford. Good morning to you. A.K.A. Maya, that's how I call her, you know. My sister. So now it's gone, 8 minutes past the top of the hour. It is the morning show, and therefore, you know that at this juncture we'll be having the one and only, and still, Mr. Olayomi Koiki, who is joining us from our North London studios to bring you all that is happening in Nigeria. Quite an interesting time. So let me say good morning to you, Mr. Olayomi Koiki.
Well, it is a very good morning to you back in the studio, Mr. Archie. Good morning to all our listeners and viewers from around the globe. Because we now have a technology that everybody can literally see what is happening back at the end. This news never used to happen, some just about maybe some 40, 30 years ago when people were presenting on the radio. But this time around, we have people that are listening to us and likewise watching us as well. So I say good morning and welcome to the 26th day of April 2022, 9 minutes past 11 on Starr Radio UK, your finest African and Caribbean radio station in London. You can follow us on our social media handles, but most importantly, our website, www.starradiouk.com, where you can find all the blogs, the entertainment, the radio, the podcast, and the most important thing, the update from Nigeria at exactly 11 o'clock between Friday and Monday to Friday, rather, and then on a Wednesday, where we have a full excision of Niger Voices in the evening.
Wow. Listeners, Mr. Olayomi Koiki for you. How are you doing, sir?
Well, like I always say, we're doing very well. Looking at the weather outside, it's quite a bit getting better. And that means that we are now in that summertime where everybody can literally show, their six-pack for those that have been training for the summertime. But for me and the family and likewise millions of people around the world, I'd say we are doing very well.
Good. All right, then, listeners, that is Mr. Olayomi Koiki for you. Now, let's go to the stories. But before we go to the stories, let me say good morning to Amaya Jirgene. Amaya, I hope you are doing very, very well. Thank you very much for joining us. To see you all the way in Moscow as well. And to... Adedeji. Okay, did I get it right? Good morning to you, and thank you very much for your support there as well. Now let's come to the stories. The Electoral Act that seemed to have worked against Amechi and Gege and others because they've not decided to resign. Is there a law in the Nigerian Electoral Act or in the Constitution that bars them, or has it that they have to resign once they show interest in running for their presidency?
Well, you have the right to run for a president in a country, but likewise, you must also, make sure that you follow the guideline and the Electoral Act. Even as much as a lot of people still believe that, the Constitution that we have at the moment is just as biased as anything. Yes, the headline that you are just talking about, is talking about Electoral Act. The two minister that is looking to become the president under the APC, others risk disqualification over their failure to resign. What do we mean by that? There are strong indication that the All Progressive Congress may disqualify political appointees contesting the 2023 elections who have not resigned their appointment. We do know that Rotimi Amechi is a minister for transportation, where we saw the terrorist was able to blow, the terrorist line from Abuja. The line between Abuja to Kaduna on the 28th of March, when, hundreds of people were killed, and some are still missing in the hands of the, I would rather want him to say how he can protect Nigerians. I saw an helicopter riding over some of the train that was traveling, and you wonder how long they will have to do that. Also, his counterpart, the Labour and Employment Senator Chris Ngige, that also joined the race last week. Remember, Ngige, some few years back, was the one that said, we prefer to have, the diaspora doctors, the doctors in Nigeria to travel and bring Forex back. Those two seems to be some out of so many others that might be disqualified, according to what we know. There were reports that the Attorney General and the Minister for Justice, Abubakar Malami, was interested also in Kebbi State governorship ticket of the party, while some serving ambassadors are also to be nursing political ambitions. But according to Section 8412 of the fraudulent Constitution, which is a military decree, the new Electoral Act mandated all political appointees seeking elective office to resign ahead of any party primary they plan to participate. So we see, we do know that I believe from what I have, that there might be the primaries of the APC coming up, I believe, next month. Will they resign before then? We would wait and see. Because if they have to resign, that means should they not get the ticket, they might not be able to come back on that appointment until the lapse of the final day of this, current government dispensation.
Yeah, interesting. But so is the vice president also supposed to resign if he has also shown interest in the presidential bid as well?
Well, he would have to, but again, we would have to wait and see. But he says something, different from what you have just said. He's saying, according to the headline coming out of Nigeria today, even though 100 million is what you might have to become, a ticket holder, according to what we have. Being the vice president for 7 years has prepared me to be the president, according to the vice president. He also said it will be a big trial to Nigeria if I don't run for the president. But the rest of question mark on him, and some of those questions is, where was he when all the killings was taking place in Nigeria? How did he react? Economic-wise, the country has gone into AY. A lot of Nigerians this morning are so much enriched, in poverty, that we now have millions of Nigerians waking up every day, no jobs. As we speak right now, ASU is also saying that they are so happy the way things are with the students that are at home. Quite a lot to discuss this morning on Star Radio UK at exactly 11:15 a.m. And I come back again to you in the studio.
Okay, listeners, Mr. Olayomi Koiki bring you updates from Nigeria. Now let's move on straight to a couple of stories that I have from my end, and I'll come back to you, whether you've heard of it. Now, the EndSARS, that's pertaining to the end, the judicial panel orders arrest of police commissioner, stroke inspector, the police officer. Okay, the Abuja judicial panel has established to probe brutality and human rights abuses linked to the disbanded Special Anti-Robbery Squad, that is SARS, and the other units of the police force has issued arrest warrants against 2 police officers who have several times shunned its summons and orders. Now, one of those summoned police officers is the Commissioner of Police in charge of legal services at the force headquarters, Ogbe Ogechukwu. Okay, I hope I got the name right. The other is an inspector. Shonku Trehemba, attached to the Wari Police Division in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. The panel, chaired by Suleiman Galadima, a retired justice of the Supreme Court, ordered the arrest of 2 police officers who are wanted in respect of the different cases. But my concern has been that, now I thought that this issue has been dealt with, and that the Lagos State Governor has, he said a board of inquiry that came out with a report. We don't know what implementation, what has been done about it so far. But Abuja also having a sitting on that same case and now arresting some people. Do you have any information about that?
Well, you're quite right. For the benefit of our listeners that probably, will not understand EndSARS, as you've said it, this was, EndSARS is a decentralized social movement and series of mass protests against police brutality in Nigeria. The slogan calls for disbanding of the Special Anti-Robbery Squad, which is known as SARS, a notorious unit of the Nigerian police with a long record of abuse on Nigeria. It all started in October when Nigerians all over the country were going to dissolve EndSARS. Ongoing SARS unit was dissolved in October 11, 2020. Protesting on 20th of October led to several deaths when we now know what is called the Lekki Toll Gate. The Lekki Toll Gate, when Nigerians were literally singing the national anthem, raising the green, white, green flag, but that did not, stop the military and the security operative that end up killing so many of them. There was a lot of, conversation. There was, setup of inquiries, and like you just said there, some of those inquiries even led to, at the moment, they were meant to open, the Lekki Toll Gate, back again, but that never happened because there was still some kind of a conversation on that. So that means they literally had to put that on hold. But the question is, will Nigerians ever get, justice on some of the, atrocities that was committed prior to NSAS, and even during that NSAS, like you said, just like you said, one of those summoned police officers is the Commissioner of Police in charge of the legal service at the first headquarters, Ogbe. We also know about Odigbo. So there was not just the Lekki massacre that happened, there was also killings in.
Olayomi Koiki is suffering a connectivity issue there, but I think he's back now. Yomi.
So the question, so many Nigerians are asking this morning or this afternoon, depending on where they're watching from, is will there ever be that got killed or missing during the NSAS saga?
Well, we hope to see. We hope to see because, as I say all the time, we hear one thing and then they do another thing. But as to whether that's going to work or not, we hope to see. It is All Starr Radio UK, your favorite African and Caribbean radio station in London. Ms. Olayomi Koiki in our North London studios. I'm Archie here in the South studios. And let me say morning to Amayo again. Amayo says, Osibanjo has betrayed not only his immediate family, but the nation as a whole. It's not only betrayed his family, but the nation as a whole. Like Mr. Olayomi Koiki was saying earlier on. Now, the fact that some people are going to look at him that you were part of governance, you were there, you did everything. And whatever the Buhari government is doing at the moment, you've been part of it. You are the vice president. The killings that have gone on is under your watch too. So what new are you going to bring under the table this time round? But well, let's go back to Yomi for some of the other stories. And just bear with us because again, we are broadcasting from the North London studios where we have our own producer there trying to make sure that everything ticks along nicely. And therefore, when there are some noise in the background, just bear with us. Over to you, Yomi.
Well, thank you so much once again, Mr. Archie, and to all our listeners, that are watching us, especially also as we're transmitting the broadcast to all the platforms that are being watched from different parts of the globe. And we'll be picking some of the comments before the end of the session today. Let's now come back and ask the question, as a lot of Nigerians ask the question, do we have the good health care? Do we have security? A sad news was coming out of Nigeria this morning that I picked up 5 innocent young children were all electrocuted inside, what we can call, a container, just as we know what the container means. Containers are used to transport goods from one end to the other in different parts of the globe. A lot of Nigerians use those, for shop, and sometimes some probably will sleep inside it, but it wasn't a great one for this family as 5 children were electrocuted inside a container. These all happened in Ondo State in the southwest of Nigeria. But as you might want to think that they might be able to rescue them, this actually happened at Ile Oluji, Okeigbo, local government area of the state. According to the spokesman of the state command, Fumilayo Odunlami, said the electric cable fell on the metal container shop inside which the disease was staying, killing them. She said the command has now commenced investigation into the matter. 2 of the 4 victims were siblings who visited their auntie for the Easter holiday in the community. The incident happened when some children were playing inside the container. You would have thought maybe at least, incident happen around the world. Accident does happen, but can we get them back to the hospital on an emergency? Yes, they did so. But Mr. Archie and our listener this morning, there was not oxygen at any of those hospitals that they finally got the children to. They were rushed to the hospital, but there was no sufficient oxygen they could use for the 5 of them. So that means 5 innocent children died. In reaction, the senator representing Ondo South, Nicholas, said he would ensure the parent of the victims get justice if the Benin Electricity Distribution Company was found culpable of the matter. He warned the resident of the community against erecting buildings or shops under high-tension cables or any power supply. This still comes back. Boils back to the negligence of a system for 61 years. Let's leave 61 years alone. I've always now bring it from the 1999 up to From 1998 till date, that is about 23 years. So if you were born in 1998, you'll be 23 years, and you would have expected the local government to function, to make sure that people do not have, buildings right underneath, a high tension cables. You would also be asking questions, where about healthcare, and all that. But do you know that the same state, the governor just returned back from Germany, even though he never said so, but we have evidence that he went for a medical treatment. And the question again is, are the Nigerians' life matters to some of these politicians, or is it just the other way around? Let's now come back. Abba Kyari, we all remember him. He was a special corps, well loved by the socialite, attended a lot of parties. But underneath, it looks like he was committing quite a lot of dangerous drug baron, according to what we know. Drug baron with 103 bank account nabbed at Lagos airport. What is the headline and what is the story behind it? We know presently he's been held down, for another allegation of drug that was coming from Brazil going through Ethiopia to Nigeria. And now the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency has arrested Chief Afan Ikatu, who is described as the billionaire drug baron behind the 3 billion naira tramadol deal involving a suspended deputy commissioner of police and a former leader of the intelligence response team, Abba Kyari. You would thought that somebody that is meant to lead the intelligence, protect Nigerians, he was actually using his position to make sure that more people become billionaire using a drug that is not meant to be in the country. A statement on Monday yesterday by the spokesman for the agency, Baba Femi, said he was arrested after months of surveillance and evading arrest. According to Baba Femi, Ikatu, who is the chairman of Melicin Groups of Company, was nabbed on board a flight to Abuja at the MM2 terminal of Lagos Airport Ikeja on Wednesday, April 13. He said investigation revealed he has been a major importer of large consignment of different brands, high dosage of tramadol, hydrochloride ranging from 120 mg to 200 to 225 to 250, all of which were illicit. Ukatu owns a pharmaceutical and plastic manufacturing company, which he used as a cover to import illicit drugs into the country. This is in addition to operating about 103 bank accounts, most of which were used to launder the money. It is not just those criminals. We also have criminals in the politics, just as we have said so many times. I'm going to come back again to you in the studio, and we're going to be looking at some of the other headlines. But when we come back, economic recovery. World Bank earmarks $170 billion lifeline for Nigeria and others. Also, rising insecurity, Naira's fall, worsen businesses' environment, according to the federal government.
Well, listeners, it is Starr Radio UK, 11:27 the time. Updates from Nigeria with Mr. Olayomi Koiki. We have Mr. Frank Davis in the studio. We will be bringing him to you in a moment. But let me say good morning to Salami Moritala. He says, Yoruba Nation, no going back. Inshallah. Okay. Anthony Adedeji, let me say massive good morning to you as well. Now, interestingly, let's look at the Abba Kyari's case. His extradition, how far with it?
Well, it's still an ongoing, even though, the federal government have said Abba Kyari, would definitely, be extradited back to U.S., where the FBI would like to speak with him in another case that links him with Hush Puppy. Hush Puppy is a fraudulent individual, Ramon, that was living a large life in the different part of the globe, mostly in Dubai where he lives. But what we do know is, as at 3 weeks ago, which is the last update on that, there is indication that Hush Puppy, amid extradition uncertainty, U.S. court picks date for Abba Kyari fraud trial. Back in Nigeria, Mr. Kyari faces a just starting trial on charges of illegal dealing in cocaine and extradition proceeding over $1.1 million fraud case involving Hush Puppy pending in the U.S. court. Likewise, as well, that is still a proceeding that is about to commence in Nigeria. But as we speak right now, that hasn't commenced yet. But what we can say is, they really made a second postponement of the trial, which the court originally scheduled for October 12, 2021. But based on the parties' request, the court has shifted the trial to May 17. So we will have to wait and see. The last time we know, while he was in court, the wife was collapsing, probably maybe after hearing the tune of money that the husband was involved in.
Now, because of his position, definitely he was an appointee of government to get to that particular rank. Now, my question is, has government actually come out to make any statement, maybe, denying or either denying him or betraying him? Or he betraying them? Have you had Lai Mohammed making a statement about that?
Well, they've literally distanced themselves, from this particular case, especially, this is a very, very high profile case, for someone, that was meant to be, the assistant commissioner and also, in the special, intelligent, squad that should have been protecting Nigerians. So the government haven't reacted, but the good thing is the government says we will allow the extradition treaty to continue as well. If I just get about 30 seconds so that we can adjust, the other platforms that is a bit, lagging, and then we will come back again at exactly 11:30. It's Starr Radio UK.
Yes, listeners, Mr. Olayomi Koiki, for you, we're trying to adjust the other network because we have others listening to us on various platforms there. But it is the Tuesday edition of the morning show. I am Archie, and I've got Mr. Frank Davis in the house as well. Let me acknowledge him. Let's say, Frank, good morning to you.
Archie, good morning. Olayomi, good morning, and good morning to our listeners, our viewers, wherever they might be.
Yeah, how are you doing, sir?
Well, I'm doing well. It's been a long weekend, a long Monday, but we're here. What can we say?
That's good. That's good.
One Russian bombs and nuclear artillery have not found us. We are alive.
We have lives, so we still have hope. We can go look for our villages wherever they are, just in case.
Just in case.
Okay. Now, interestingly, just a quick one on the Nigeria issue that we're looking at. We're talking about the elections and the fact that they say some of the candidates who have thrown their hats into the ring for the high office, that's the presidential bid. Now they're saying that because they've not resigned, there's a tendency that will disqualify them.
Well, I do not think there's an electoral law that says that once you hold a public office, you have to do that. I know much about civil servants. That once civil servants threw themselves into political arena, to a large extent, they are supposed to step aside. So that's purely non-party. It's supposed to be run as non-partisan civil service. Although we know they are more partisan than even the politicians themselves. So I do not think that there's any law that is right. But you see, some of these governors, or if they are ministers, they are appointed they serve at the pleasure of the president. So if you are appointed and as part of the administration's basically way of running their things, will tell you, look, you know what, once you've thrown your heart into the ring, I do not think that you're going to have enough time to consider what I'm pursuing or what I'm persecuting as an administration. So on that basis, you can step aside or step aside for someone to step in. So those are kind of things that will have to do with who appointed the person. If the person is an elected official, it becomes difficult because at that point the person took their power or have gotten their power from the public. Okay. You asked a question about Osibajo. Osibajo was on the ballot before the president was elected. He wasn't elected after that, and he was appointed. Not like is he Israel that does that? He led, then the person appointed Watari has appointed his vice. In our Nigeria, it's not like that. Your vice has to be on the ballot paper, and then together they look at you as a team. Although the president becomes the lead, they say. So resigning from that is not going to be something that anyone is going to call for because it's not possible. There's no room for that. Are you getting me? But once you're a minister, you are appointed, you were not elected. The person who appoints you can say that, okay, you know what, for effective running of my administration, I do not want you to be there. And I would expect that people should even do the right thing and step aside once they put their names in the ring. I mean, what it does is it brings a bit of playing field onto the board for those who have. If I've not been appointed and I want to step up, anyone who has been appointed has a bit of advantage. Transport minister can do. Maybe they have a little bit of advantage. Yeah. And that is what some of us have about the vice, because they have the vice.
He has got all that,
Well, by the privilege of the office that he holds. So I don't see anything wrong with it. I don't see anything. They should just resign. I mean, to be on the safer side.
Okay. Well, if they resign or not, we'll see what will happen. Will they be disqualified? It is Starr Radio UK. Mr. Frank Davis for you. We've got Mr. Olayomi Koiki back on. So now let's go back to him for some of the other stories making the rounds. Over to you, Yomi.
Very good morning to all our listeners, especially those that are watching us back home in Nigeria and those outside as well. So good morning to you, Aziz in Florida. Good morning to those of you that have joined us as well from different platforms. Yes, let's go back to rising insecurity, the Naira fall, and worsening business environment. And what is that all about? What we do know, the Director General, Nigerian Governors Forum, Mr. Archie Okauru, says the worsened insecurity and currency depreciation have been adversely affecting the business environment and taxable income in Nigeria. The NGFDG, who was represented by the Senior Program Manager, Mr. Lanre, said this during a presentation of a workshop in Abuja organized by the State Fiscal Transparency, Accountability and Sustainable Program. He added that the perceived weak social contract between citizens and the government continue to threaten the legitimacy of the taxation. So I'm going to go straight to what is happening on the social media at exactly 11:35 a.m. this morning, the 26th of April 2022. What is happening? Quite a lot is trending this morning as usual on Nigeria. And I go back again to now that it is your turn of the Igbo. They are propounding a new theory. It must be based on merit. If it is a question of merit, who in the North qualified to lead? It has been based on merit. The Igbos alone will produce Nigerian president. This is coming from, Pa Ayo Adebanjo. Just a few weeks ago, he did talk about, if the country doesn't get a new constitution, there will be chaos. And those are also says he doesn't agree or disagree with those that want secession, according to him. But this morning, Buhari deceiving Jonathan and others is what Pa Ayo Adebanjo have said, according to the headline. And it says, and I quote here, before we touch quickly on some of the other headlines as well. According to him, as Clark Adebanjo, the Middlebelt Forum, canvassed for Igbo president, Igbo have competent, patriotic people, according to Clark. Southwest should take a backseat for now, Bogo. And this is all coming from Southern and Middlebelt leaders yesterday converging in Abuja, the nation's capital, and again restated their call for power shift to the southeast, saying since all the other zones have taken their turns at the presidency, it will be unjust to deny Indigbo a seat at the table. This even as one of them, who is the leader of the pan-Yoruba social political group, Afenifere, Chief Ayo Adebanjo, one former president, Goodluck Jonathan, and the national leader of all the progressive APC, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, that they were being deceived by President Muhammadu Buhari in their quest to become the president in 2023. The leader spoke at the Great Nigerian Conference with the team, held at the International Conference Center in Abuja. As a lot of people are still asking, will there be 2023? Even the leader of the RCCG says he's not sure that there might be a 2023. Let's take a look now at what is trending.
Just a quick one before we go to what is trending. Frank, let me come to you.
Yeah.
Do you think that appointing somebody from the southeast to become the president, okay? I mean, virtually the president is appointed, they go through the elections and they become the president. Do you think that is something that can, forestall peace in Nigeria and give them where they have to?
The first question we need to ask is, if we do have agitation from the Yorubas or the Igbos, are we being told that the agitation is actually based on the personality of who the president is or how the administration is run. For me, if we're going to just base our demands on Buhari being a northerner, and therefore, for Christ's sake, Nigeria is, as we know it now, is one country, and a northerner is qualified equally as a southerner, whether southeast or whatever it is. Once you're a Nigerian, you qualify to be the president of that country. So if our argument is just going to be the fact that, look, let's appoint someone from southeast or whichever, and then there will be peace, I do not agree. Has there not been people from that side already? I mean, when Buhari came, let's be negative over here a little bit. I've not seen Buhari ordering bulldozers to go to southeast and bulldoze down all what they call the business entities that were actually put together by Obasanjo and others. I've not seen him going to say that, okay, you know what, today I've ordered that the Air Force should use attack helicopters and break down the bridges that were constructed over there by my predecessor that were from that area. That is not the case. We have Insecurity, we have others that are very systemic. Appointing someone from that area for me is none. If we appoint someone over there, the northerners also starts. Say, okay, you know what? Now you've appointed someone from Southeast. We also want to break away and form our Northern Nigerian territory. Or what are we going to do? For me, whoever will lead Nigeria will need to be someone that we know has the ability. It doesn't matter where the person comes from, whether it is from space, north, east, I do not mind. Provided the person can demonstrate that, look, these are the problems. This is the solution that we've tried. This is what I want to do. And I do believe that if I do A, B, C, D, we're able to eliminate this problem. What are the Yorubas and the Biafrans calling for? They want a restructuring. That restructuring must, constitutional reform must precede that restructuring. It could be that if we have a national dialogue, put a better constitution together, all these agitations will go. So for me, going to appoint someone is just it's like a rotten cake, and then you're going to put a bit of icing on it.
It's a new cake.
It doesn't matter. It solves no problem for me.
Yeah, let's go to Yomi. Yomi, what has the Yoruba nation? Let's say Sunday IGBOHO. Let me take him that he is the leader. Okay, and then we have got the Biafrans. We have NNAMDI KANU. Now, what have they said about the elections? This election that is pending.
Well, Professor Banji Akintoye is the leader of the Yoruba movement, and likewise, yes, we also have, Chief Sunday IGBOHO that also has a full support of Professor Banji Akintoye as his leader as well. What they are saying is, on the 28th, like they are saying, there will be the court proceeding of the validity of the 1999 Constitution. So this Thursday, that is going to be happening in Ado-Ekiti. Yes, in terms of because we've got to wind down now quickly, because of the situation, Afenifere has always been in the position that the country needs to be restructured back to what it was during the regional government. So yes, according to them, they believe that all the other part of the country have given opportunity to have the presidency. It is now the turn of the Southeast. But already PDP is saying that they are not going to be given that opportunity. That means everybody will just have to, clock for it. In as much as they would have rather do the same by bringing it down to the Southwest, either the Southeast or the Southwest. But that is not going to be happening. APC have not literally tell us how they want to zone it, but we do know that there's quite a lot of contender for that. So in terms of the, the Ohanze and the, social cultural group, and likewise the Afenifere, their position is the presidency must now come to the Southeast.
Okay. All right then. Go on with what is happening on the social media platform, sir.
Oh, we're just going to take two out of that because of the time constraint. Like always say, Ifafunsho at Ifafunsho Graphics, Yoruba Nation will surely come to actualization. The amalgamation marriage that was imposed on us in 1914 will surely collapse. It is already collapsing gradually. Nigeria has no future for anyone aside from destruction. Yoruba will break the fetters of the amalgamation of the 1914. Also, according to this Twitter, Nigerian government deploys soldiers over a missing cow, but cannot deploy soldier over a missing soldier. That tells you who Nigeria government and military force. This is coming from Onyedi Kachi at Kachi Onyedi on Twitter. So quite a lot of very, interesting one on the social media. But that is how far we can go. But tomorrow I'll be back again same time at 11 o'clock, where we continue to review the update news from Nigeria. But make sure you stay tuned with Frank and Archie for the rest of the segment.
Okay, Yomi, let me say massive thank you very much for that wonderful update, and we'll catch up tomorrow.
Well, just the last comment from here, according to Prince Abimbola Oswori says, I don't agree with Frank. The government are not ready for restructuring.
Okay, government are not ready for restructuring. All right, Yomi.
That's an issue that we might have to look at, because for me, as the constitution stands now, Olami, just 1 minute. Olami, we can let Olami go if that.
Yeah.
Look, for me, actually, Nigeria, the way Nigeria is now, the constitution does not allow what people are advocating that we should appoint this presidency. Yeah, every political party will look at a bit of tribal cards. That is, if I choose a candidate from Southeast, probably that will swell my my popularity a little bit in those areas. And looking at the votes that will be coming from those areas, then you're likely to choose someone from there. But what we shouldn't be advocating is to be letting people based on tribe. That the primary qualification must be that a person should be coming from Southeast, Northeast. Now, if we want that procedure, then let's go back to the constitution and restructure and say, okay, how many tribes do we have? Let's zone the whole area. Let's say, okay, northern area is A, B, C, D. Southern is part of this. Okay, how many zones do we have? We have 5 zones. Okay, presidency is 3 years. So we now go to like the way we do football. We tossed. Whoever select number 1, let's stop wasting money to go and go for national election. Zone number A, you people should basically let someone to come and represent you. So these 3 years, you have the presidency, rotational presidency. We give it to you so that within the 3 years you govern. Once he finishes, another one comes within 3 years. And finish it. That's if we want to have the rotation, then we should come on just our democratic arrangement, then stop and start calling for we want someone from Southeast. Do you think we should go and bring someone, a daft person who cannot, someone who has been corrupt, someone who does not know their left and right, just because he comes from Southeast to come and lead Nigerians? No. So the primary focus should be the capabilities and abilities of that individual, whether he's from Southeast, whether he's from Northeast, whatever. What is he coming? It might turn out that someone from South and North will be the one to solve all these problems.
Well.
It might be someone who said, look, I mean, where we stand, we have been seen as the aggressors. We've encouraged people for long. It could be a Fulani who said, okay, my people have done all this for this. And go to my people, look, what we're doing in Nigeria, we're destabilizing the country. It might be someone from there. So focusing on where the person comes from, for me, is secondary. I mean, just like the way Kojo Bonsu the other time, I was just with that guy to Ghana. It's a manner of respect. So he went to Otumfuo and was telling Otumfuo that he wants to step in to be to contest when NDC open flag bearership. I agree with everything that he was saying, except where he said that since the inception of NDC, no Ashanti has been given the opportunity, and therefore, I mean, are you getting me? For me, that straight is a tribal comment that should not be entertained in our politics. In our politics. I shouldn't, if a goat, if I because I wear jersey number 3. And I know this is number 3 tribal, and they will vote for me. If I'm as rubbish as anything, because I hail from that area, they should. No, I actually do not subscribe to that at all.
I think it makes sense, because I'm looking at what happened in South Africa, digressing a bit further. You know, when the clerk, FW de Klerk, came to power, that's when he managed, because he knew what the whites were doing.
Yeah.
But he decided, no, I want to change things. And
That's
then
a
he
classic
brought,
example.
he brought Mandela out of prison and
that's a
stuff like
classic
that. And we
example.
see what we are seeing now.
That's
So it doesn't matter. They didn't need a black person to be a president before reforms could have been. But the problem that Nigerians seem to have is that the Senate and the House of Representatives seem to have a majority. I don't know how they've done their what do you call it, constituencies, how they've structured it, because it seems to be that those in the north have more seats.
Actually, that's what they need to be. That's what they need to look at. If those from the north have more seats, that's what they need to look at. Are we going to how do we define a constituency? Are we defining a constituency based on the population or the land side? We should see that as being fair. Okay, so if we're going to do a restructuring of the constitution, that is what we have to be looking at. Are we going to be looking at the land mass and say, okay, for every 10 kilometers there must be a constituency? Or we're going to look at the number of people that live or reside over there? Because do not forget, again, that will have to inform what we do when we come to parliament. If you take Ghana, for instance, there's this MPP, what do you call it? MPs allocation of common fund. So that for every money that we receive, the 10% that go to the district assembly, because there was a rivalry between the district chief executive and the MPs. As part is given to the MPs to use our development projects that to show up their image, because MPs are not development agents in the first place. Are you get me? If you take the GET fund, a portion is given to the MPs. If you take the NHI's levy, so if you see an MP has gone to register, a student over here for anything,
it's not his own pocket money. It's just his own pocket money.
The only difference is that we've not followed with accountability. So that, okay, MP, we've given you 20,000 specifically from GET Fund, specifically to help schools. What have you used that money for? Most of these MPs have used this money for their political. And